Hi, everybody. I wanted to talk to you for a second about your file trees and why it's important to keep everything extremely organized when you're doing a video edit. I know that you have, in Bob's classes, he talks about file management and file organization. And it's just as important when making videos as it is when doing photographs and trying to find old backup versions of photographs that you may have accidentally altered in some way that you didn't want. And with video, the issue is that you have so many elements, shoots become so complex so quickly with multiple layers of music, interview, B-roll, um, graphics, lower thirds, all of this stuff that if you don't have them extremely organized, it's going to be really impossible to find something that you need to make a specific fix or change to. So with every shoot moving forward, everyone, you should set up a file tree that has music in one folder, graphics in a folder, B-roll in a folder, interviews or scenes, depending on what kind of movie you're making. If you're making a narrative film, you're going to organize by scene and then drop all the raw camera material that way. And if you're doing a documentary or an advocacy project, you'll usually organize by interview or some other way, but around shoots. So for example, if you have 3 guests, you could have one folder for the first guest, all of their B-roll, all their audio files, their lower third files, any of that stuff. Transcripts can go in there as well. Same thing for other guests. And so that organization helps you so much when you need to fix something, you need to find it. What's wrong with that? I got to find it. You go back into your file tree and there it is. So organization first. And there's a nice feature in the Media Manager in Premiere Pro where you can take your file tree itself and have your file tree in your bin. Rather than just bringing stuff randomly into a bin, you have your file tree there. Helps to be working on a larger monitor. These small laptop monitors make it a little difficult to see everything. If you're working on a big Mac 27-inch monitor, you have all this stuff easily grabbable when it's organized. The other thing I want to say is once you've got all of that material into bins, you want to make sure that you are not cutting from either your download folder or from your SD card. You've got to take that material and transfer it into its permanent home, or you run the risk of changing machines and having the material that you downloaded, say music or still shots, on the other machine, and then in your timeline, you get a missing media link that you can't do anything with. You can't have missing media in your timeline or it won't export to make a movie. Premiere Pro just won't allow you to do that. So that's a massive issue. And then the other issue is if you try to edit from your SD card, you're okay until you either leave your SD card at home or, even worse, you lose that SD card or you accidentally write over it. Say you're shooting a long movie, you're shooting on your SD card, you make a mistake and you shoot over what was there, thinking, oh, it's already in the timeline, it's in the bin, it'll be fine. It's not. And we've talked about the fact that Premiere Pro does not alter the original files at all. And so every single moment that Premiere Pro is working on something in your timeline, it's going back to the original. It's not looking at the bin, it's not looking at the temporary files, it's looking at the original file, no matter what it's done. And it's rewriting that moment in some interesting ways every single time you go through it. When you render a file like that, so you get a green line in your Premiere Pro, it's still going back to the original. So say you've rendered it, somewhere on your drive is saved that rendered moment. That rendered moment doesn't exist without the original file. And so you can see where you think you've got a finished movie. Everything's been rendered, the line's green, you're ready to export it, but that day you forget your SD card. You don't have a finished movie because you can't export it out to a film. So this stuff becomes really crucial, file management. And just get in good habits from day one, make these folders, make the subfolders, put everything in there, and you will be saved from a crisis later in the semester, later in your career. I can't tell you how important it is to me as a producer that I protect that field material, because in some ways I'm responsible. If a field shoot is lost, it's my fault. No matter who loses it, as the producer, it's my fault. And then if it gets lost more than once, twice, three times, I put my job in jeopardy. So this kind of protection of your work is really vital. So don't forget, set up your folders and use them, and then take your SD card out of the machine and put it somewhere safe so you have a backup to your backup. Multiple hard drives, one is a backup, and then your SD card saved somewhere until the movie's done, and then take that card and put it back into your camera kit to be written over. Okay, see you in class or see you in the next pod lecture.